Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Walking Dead Season 5 discussion topic predictions video. This one was viewer requested by Mr. Jad Jarko. Thank you for the video suggestion. And we're going to be talking about, will Carl lose an eye? Alright, so absolutely fantastic video suggestion. Thank you to you guys. It wasn't just him. There was other people too that had suggested it, but he reminded me that I did plan on doing it and hadn't gotten around to doing it yet, so I thought this was a great one to go ahead and do today. And that's to discuss, should or will Carl lose an eye in The Walking Dead Season 5? Now, this one should be applicable to Season 5. This contains spoilers for the comic book series. If anyone has not read, although this chapter came out, I believe, 2 to 3 years ago. Yeah, about a little over 2 years ago, I want to say. So they're way ahead at that point at the time. But basically, here's the rundown: comic book spoilers, possible TV show spoilers for this one for season 5. We essentially have Rick and the group. They are staying at the Alexandria safe zone, but we're finding that the Alexandria safe zone isn't so much of a safe zone due to the fact that the leader, Douglas, has not really been outside of that area very much. He has not dealt with a zombie herd as of yet. He has not really dealt with other groups attacking them so far. And Rick has. So basically, they're not prepared. Douglas is in charge, and they're not prepared for a zombie herd to come waltzing through. I mean, I don't know how prepared you can be for something like that, but Eugene in the modern comic books has kind of come up with a way to deal with herds, which is you have to scout them out first, use some horns, use some noise, and sort of steer them away from the direction of your community so that they miss you. That's his solution to the zombie herd problem for a stationary location, which is brilliant, by the way. But with regards to this one, they were not prepared. They were not prepared for it, and a herd of zombies essentially comes marching right down through the Alexandria safe zone, knocking the gates down from pressure and the wall and barging through. Now, essentially what happens is the Alexandria safe zone has a bunch of little houses, a lot of houses inside of it, and most of the characters are inside. They're relatively safe, I want to say, but the surrounding area outside of their homes is filled with hundreds of zombies. So that said, what do? They basically decide they have no other way. They either cower in fear and starve and die, or they take their chances and they get out there and they start slaying some zombies. First, what they basically do is they try to escape using the guts trick, which Rick has used in the past before, and before too long they realize that it's too thick. There's too many walkers, and even though they get close, they're not able to use the guts trick to get out of there. They're going to ditch it, basically. It was their first idea. Rick, Carl, and their immediate entourage, they were going to ditch the community and just leave. Just say, screw it, let's get out of here. Doesn't work, essentially. Douglas, being the idiot that he is, not knowing what to do in these types of situations, comes out and starts shooting up the place, causing the zombies to get really riled and all sort of head towards him. We won't talk any more about that because I don't want to spoil too much for the TV series if you guys, with regards to him, what happens later. But basically, one of the gunshots goes astray and it ends up hitting Carl in the eye and blowing his eye socket out. I believe it's his right eye, so on me, it's right here, but from you, the opposite perspective. But anyway, his right eye is blown out and basically like a good portion of his face. So later on in the modern comics, we'll see him wearing black shades to kind of cover up the hole. He's also been wearing an eye patch, governor style, to kind of cover that up because he's got this gaping hole where his eye used to be. So brutal, right? But it was a huge shock at the time when it happened. I remember I was doing videos at the time, and I had done a review for it and stuff, and people were just buzzing about it. Like, everybody online was going nuts that they couldn't believe that would happen. And it was really shocking. It was really drawn well by Charlie Adler with a huge splash page of it and everything. And wow, it was a pretty incredible moment. Now, here's the thing with this one. I did the same type of video talking about, I believe it was season 3, and whether or not Rick would lose a hand. What we know now is, at least so far, Rick obviously still has his hand. Merle, on the other hand, was fated with losing his hand, and I really like what they did with him. However, it would have, if they cut off Rick's hand or they do something like that, you know, it's going to be tough going forward for the next however many seasons the show's on to do that. Either CG it all the time, which is expensive and kind of unnecessary, or they do a Merle type thing where they put on some kind of prosthetic arm type thing. So they could still do it. You know, they could at some point in time still cut off Rick's hand. But anyway, for the sake of that season when it happened in the comic books, they did not do it. I want to say the same thing should apply for Carl. The same thing. If I would say anytime with The Walking Dead, you see something happen verbatim in the comic books, in the TV series, it won't happen that way. They'll change it up, they'll switch it up, they'll do something different. So either they'll have Carl lose an eye at another time, or Rick lose his hand at another time, which I don't think they're going to do anymore at all. I think Rick's going to keep his hands in the TV series. Just my thoughts, though. But with regards to Carl losing an eye in the TV series, aesthetically, you could do it a lot easier than a hand, because you could just make him wear an eye patch and put makeup around his actual real eye for Chandler Riggs, and you'd be fine. You'd be able to go ahead with that. That's it. You just put the makeup on each time you shoot a scene with him, put the patch on, and away you go, Governor style, right? So it wouldn't be too much of a pain. It wouldn't be as bad as trying to CG in a hand or something, or put a prosthetic thing on for Rick. So that said, are they going to do it with Carl? Let's do some predictions. Well, if they're going to do it, it won't be the same way. I'm a fan of this time the idea of, rather than it being Carl, have it be somebody else. So rather than Carl be the one to be shot in the eye at that occasion, have it be something else, someone else be shot somewhere else, right? So that it's the same type of thing that happened in the comic books, but it doesn't happen exactly the same way. Kind of like the Herschel-Tyrese switcheroo, something like that with the TV series. Do one like that this season. It should be big. I could see them doing something like this at the finale of the season, or leading up to the finale in the last few episodes. That would be huge for the season. It would be really good for season 5. So that said, just to make a prediction, will Carl lose an eye? I say no, at least not in the same way. Now, I have not heard in interviews or anything like that or online Kirkman's position on Carl actually losing an eye, that whole idea. With the Rick hand thing, I had heard that he regretted having Rick's hand cut off because it kind of maims the character. It doesn't make him as good at self-defense. It doesn't make him as good at killing walkers and everything, shooting with his left hand. It causes a lot of problems for the character. So he said he regretted doing that. At least I read that online. I don't know if that's 100% true, but that's what I heard. With Carl's eye, I never heard his opinion on whether or not he regretted, having Carl's eye get shot out or not. I think that it does kind of make the character a little bit more hard. He's given more, he's lost more, and it makes him more kind of for later on when he grows up and stuff, more deranged, I guess. Because he shows the zombie apocalypse on his face. He shows the wear and tear of what it's like living in a zombie apocalypse right on his face. He shows it there, just like the governor did. So, because I haven't heard his position, I don't know whether or not how he feels about this. If he wants to do that with Carl at some point or another, like if he wants that to happen or not. Man, it's been since about the beginning of season 2, when you had like bloodletting, when you had Carl get shot the same way he did through the comic books. They've done mostly switcheroos, so they haven't had the events happen exactly the same, either at different times or with different characters. So for this one, total predictions, totally just what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to do something similar, but I don't think it's going to be Carl in that instance. They could do it at a different time with Carl, depending on how Kirkman feels about him. I do think it's a good idea for him, for the character, for the TV show, and I think it works, but I think it'll happen at a different time. So either, different set of circumstances in the finale or something like that, or maybe in season 6 later on they'll do it. I do kind of think that it's a good idea to have Carl visually show that struggle of how hard it is to survive in a zombie apocalypse on him. So I do think they're going to do it at some point in time. I just don't think it's going to be in the same set of circumstances that it was then. We're going to see something else happen. Either a different character, get shot accidentally, or just a lot of characters be eaten by zombies or something like that. But will Carl lose an eye in The Walking Dead Season 5? My prediction is no. I don't think he will. But at some point in time, I do think he will. I don't think it's the same as the Rick Hand thing. So totally predictions, totally have nothing to back it up, just going on what I would do and what I think is going to happen with the set of circumstances. So I say, will he lose it in the same fashion? No. Will he lose it in season 5? No. But I think later on he will at some point in some way. So those are kind of my thoughts on the Carl I thing. Those are my predictions for it. Kind of similar to the Rick Hand thing, but in this situation, I think they're going to go ahead eventually with doing that, having him lose an eye one way, shape, or form. Maybe in similar circumstances, but different, or a similar way, but different circumstances. You know, have somebody shoot at a different time and have it accidentally hit, or something like that, or maybe another group shoot or something. Who knows? I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about that, whether or not you think we're going to see that in season 5. Do you think he should or not? I want to say I think he should. Not that I want to have him be in pain or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. But I think he should, because it kind of is part of forming that character and who he is in the comic book series at current time. So let me know what you guys think about that, and yeah, I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. Oh, by the way, if you like the video, please like it below, thumb it up. If you want to help support the channel, favorite it, share it, whatever you want to do. And this is Trev. As always, same peace, guys.